Dear ladies and gentlemen, signed a treaty to cede 3 eastern provinces to France. At 1862, French colonialists continued to invade the western provinces to form a colonial territory in the south. 1.8661, 885. 1885 Vietnamese officials organized the Can Vuong resistance movement against the French, but 7 defeats. The Nguyen kings were Ham Gi, innovation and spirit. Those who resisted were stripped of their thrones and exiled. From then to 1920, many patriotic movements against the French broke out, but in the end still failed, making people's lives more miserable. Surely many people will be curious about the life of Vietnamese people at that time. How will it be? Please join Vietnamese English Bilingual TV to find out. This is a photo of a rich Vietnamese man 1866. Looking at the picture we can see clothes and jewelry of the rich people of our country at that time. But Vietnamese dignitaries at a village ceremony in Hanoi. Wearing a turban and a traditional black dress. In front of the person on the right, we see a zither. A house in Hue, 36 people. Portrait of a mandarin in Hai Duong province. This mandarin is wearing ceremonial attire, true to one's rank. Officer is a noun for people with high level of Confucianism, carefully selected to work as a civil servant of the royal court. Portrait of Mr. Nguyen Van Tuan, one of the regents of the period, General Nguyet Ba, the darkest king in the history of the Nguyen dynasty. Pho Du Pho Gio, also known as Mat Street in Hanoi, adventurer, went up the Red River with a fleet of ships to sell weapons in Yunnan. That illegal act has caused Vietnamese officials lock him up on the street, which later bore his name. View of the Coffin village near Saigon in Cochin, China. Landscape photo in Via Ho about 1866 to 1872. Original image of Go Vap district, Saigon today. Once upon a time was a village nestled between dense vegetation and a river. Water canal. 1850-1897 a tram line providing service. Transport from Saigon to Go Vap. Hanoi Citadel Gate taken at about 1866. The area of the citadel includes gardens and ponds, and rice fields. This city is the administrative capital of Tonkin, and is also the residence of the governor of Hanoi, and concerns. The French destroyed the city of 18,941,897. Today only a few relics remain including the flagpole. Photo of Marble Mountains in Dao Nay. About 1868. Marble Mountains is an important holy place in Vietnam. These limestone hills, connected by many caves, in which the people built temples and pagodas since ancient times. Image of Tung Quan area in Bac Ki. This is the watchtower and garrison of the Black Flag Army, downstream of the Red River. Photo of Bao Em Pagoda in Hanoi. The French call this the Temple of Torture, by decorative reliefs. Description of the underworld, also known as Nguyen Dang Gioi Pagoda. Name of Governor of Hanoi. Builder. One of the Buddhist architecture. Built in 1840 to 1846. Haiphong scene taken around 1868 to 1872. Won the right to establish a concession in Haiphong in 1880. This place is famous for being a restless area. Extremely rare photos taken inside Hanoi Citadel. About 1.866 to 1.868. This is the initial stage. Hanoi has the presence of French colonialists. Portrait of street vendors. Shoot around 1.875 to 1.879. Image of Vietnamese women sitting on a chair in front of the house, with characteristic black stained teeth. An old couple and their young grandson are preparing. Was carried on a cart carrying tofu and sugar water to the street to sell. A cart pulled by two oxen. Exploiting the pulling power of a shovel is a legacy of the Delta period. The Jeon province itself was also part of the Khmer kingdom before the Vietnamese came. Image of two Vietnamese soldiers at work. You can see the weapons are very primitive. A soldier in a long dress walking barefoot. The other person wears shoes. To 5 to 5 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Is the leader of a group of Chinese people. Immigrate to Vietnam. 1875. At that time there were 7 guilds. By 1885 they were down to 5 guilds. Members of a band with their instruments. We can distinguish the person sitting on the left side of the piano BA. The person sitting in the middle of the fence is playing the lute. The person sitting on the left-hand chair is playing the guitar. Person sitting on a mat playing the zither. Man sitting on the ground to the right of the shepherd. Beat with copper chopsticks. The young man behind the drum beats with 2 sticks. An enemy's funeral led by monks. With the people behind. With the funeral home and the coffin inside. Portrait of Thre monks of Mahayana Buddhism. Lotus hat. And the SA jacket made from many pieces of the person standing in the middle. Shows the above way of the other to people. Commercial area along the Saigon River. Taken in the period before 1.875. Looking from left we can see coffee shop signs, restaurant, etc. Governor's Palace in Saigon after the 1860 Peace Treaty. The French carried out the construction of this mansion in Cochin, China. Started 1868 and completed 1873. This was originally the Governor's Palace of Cochin, China. In 1887 it became the Governor-General's Palace of Indochina. By 1960 this palace was demolished and replaced it with another project. A floating dock on the Saigon River built by the French Navy can accept repairs, the largest ships in operation at that time. With 2 small mounds, was built simultaneously to store weapons on the Saigon shore. From then on became a complete naval port. Next to a house in the barracks of the 6th Marine Corps in Saigon. Photo of Cha Du Road under construction. Later this street was named Nguyen Hue. End of road position in the far background is where the Saigon City Hall will later be built. Photo of a countryside scene along the Saigon River with dense trees and rows of coconut and areca trees. Temple Trap photo. The place of worship of Thien Hao of Chinese immigrants in Cholon area. Built in 1822. This photo shows a neighborhood of houses located among coconut trees. On the edge of a river, when the water runs dry, in the canal of Trach Biang. Once took a picture of a neighborhood located among the coconut trees on the edge of the Bin Trijiang River. Listen to the water. This is a branch of the Saigon River, in the suburbs. Typical house style of our people at that time, with a thatched roof in front. There are always things. Rainwater collection for domestic use. A tiled house of a well-off person of that period. Located in the middle of a lush orchard. Shade beside the river at low tide. Portrait of an actor in costume and makeup. A character in a traditional play or opera. Portrait of two Annam women in Backki. Could be mother and daughter or mistress and maid. With traditional calm questions. The scenery on both sides of the Tofu Canal can be clearly seen. Left side, have one dong oven husked rice. Right side of the bridge are some of the commercial transaction offices. Later the location of the main banks. In this picture is the presence of a large brick kiln, which we can see the furnaces on the right. The houses that come with the furnace certainly linked to the production. Image of two tombs of Vietnamese people from some period. Looking at the architectural model looks very nice, with full feng shui elements and decorative motifs typical of the Nguyen dynasty. A group of soldiers stationed at the Maitri station near Cholon, right from the time of occupying Cochin China. The French established a military force, on-site recruitment, called Southern Soldiers. The apricot tree is the first temple, converted into a small fort, and then a stronghold in the region. A corner of the tomb of Bishop Boilec is a French Catholic priest, was blessed and highly regarded by Lord Nguyen. In regaining power from the Tay Son dynasty in the late 18th century, 1,983 of these areas were leveled and relocated. He was converted to law. Today is the Landfather Roundabout. French cannon given to Nguyen Dynasty Army. Virtuous and respectful. Turned into a defensive fortress by the French soldiers. Look at the picture can see. Ancient architecture was built very elaborately. A porcelain shop in Hanoi. Governor of Hanoi and entourage photographed on 7/1884. Scholar, scribe and interpreter, working for the Hanoi governor. It is noteworthy that costumes and weapons of two servants. There is a clear difference between the two sides. Photo of a corner inside Sun Tay Church. The devastated scene of Hung Ho Street after the war with the French. Weapons confiscated by the French from the Black Flag Army. Left side practice. And the northern leaders standing in front of the Hanoi Quan Then Temple. 1 to 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 10 10 to 3 10 4 5 10 6 0 7 8. 8 years. French military defensive bunker on the left bank of the Red River. This is the scene outside the Hanoi judicial area. Hong Kim Lake, Hanoi, looking towards Ho Phong Waterfall. A child working as a porter. This is a photo of a little girl in period clothing. A very nice looking long dress. And here is a picture of a red soldier in Cochin China. A bamboo bridge used by the French military to cross the Da River. Image of cannon in Sun Tay Citadel. A Black Flag Army is defending Hung Ho Citadel. Black Flag Fortress, used to protect the Red River area. Nam Dinh Citadel after being attacked by French troops. Images around the walls of Sun Tay Citadel. The photo of the Black Flag's hideout looks very primitive. A rampart was built in Bac Ninh Citadel. You can clearly see the material is very rough. How can it withstand artillery shells? A bridge destroyed by the Chinese in Sun Tay. This is a picture of a paper-making village in Vietnam 1885. A road in Sun Tay. We can see simple thatched roofs of local people. Looks so pathetic. View of a battlefield in Lang Son on 1-2-1885. a main road in Bac Ninh City. After the French colonists occupied, an noble woman. My husband is a Chinese doctor. An Vietnamese businessman and his descendants. A group of carpenters building houses. The group of people who represented the working class at that time. Two officials of the bar. To Vietnam to bring back Chinese prisoners of war after the Battle of Lang Son. A huge imperial mission to Lang Son to negotiate with the French army. This is a picture of a pottery street in Old Hanoi. A street in Hanoi taken during the French National Day. 1471885. A close-up of a garrison fort. The road to Bac Ninh. Close-up shelter made of cornstarch and hung ho. Vietnamese Ninh City Gate after being occupied by the military. A close-up of a defensive rampart in Shaanxi. We can see mainly clay and bamboo. Shaanxi City Gate after being occupied by the French army. Look at the bullet holes, without pity. Look at the boat anchored in the Red River. A picture of a woman. Algae carrying water on the Red River. And the red yellows are heartbroken. The opposite of the flood is the image of a Siam master being served by a servant. Two sides. A picture of a financial manager in ceremonial attire. And here's a mandarin in uniform, in Ninh Binh. A video recording of a trial in Hanoi. The prisoner's collar is made of bamboo, and the officers are interrogating. Close-up of prisoners wearing handcuffs, guarded by soldiers. A picture of a couple a year ago. HOA family in Annam. A beauty sitting in a chair. There was a maid standing on one side holding a beetle tray in Tonkin. A forging workshop in Annam. In the picture of the factory owner supervising. The workmen are forging metal. A picture of a noble woman lying in a hammock with someone to monitor the harvest of 1,800 vegetables for 8 years. I'm going to have a sandwich today. An orchestra full of ethnic music in Tonkin. The old police dancers. Look at the picture we can see. The girls are very young and beautiful. Can you guess their age? A piece of singing in stage costumes. It looks beautiful. Tien Hao Pagoda in Saigon Big Market. Image of a GA train in Saigon 1885. Image of a cafe in Saigon. A carriage in Saigon 1885.